Hey everybody, it's Tyler, and this is my Jurassic World Rebirth second trailer reaction, kind of like not reaction, but discussion. First of all, fan of the series, okay? Have been since I was a child. I always give things the benefit of the doubt if they want to continue and what the story is. Was excited for the idea of Dominion, but Dominion did a couple of things that were horrible. First of all, overcomplicating Lockwood's daughter, where it's a Macy's a clone of his daughter instead of just being his daughter, gave birth to herself, kind of weird ass thing. Um, Instead of just being a clone of the daughter that he made, they had to make like his daughter made the clone of herself and all that. That's just overcomplicating it. Okay, the idea that his daughter died and John Hammond and him split because he wanted to use the technology they were progressing as for cloning to clone his daughter works for me. I hate retconning like that, where like this character we've never heard of all of a sudden was a huge part of John Hammond's thing. All right, whatever. Okay, so that goes back to the last two movies, and then the whole locust thing. You took the majesty and the wonder of these dinosaurs and these animals, and you went into a direction about the locust and genetic. No, that's not what we were expecting. We went into this to look at what does the world look like when dinosaurs become part of our everyday existence in our world. And I think Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory, especially Chaos Theory, showed us a better picture of what that looks like than locusts. All right, so that's my rant there. So the idea of Jurassic Park Rebirth, and if anyone knows, I'm a big DC fan, and the concept of a rebirth is always a big. Crisis and rebirth are two of the biggest words in DC Comics that means something. And coming back around, um, what's intriguing is rebirth. What does that mean? Like, what is this? And so we've gotten two trailers, I guess, now. And the only thing that makes me excited for this film, honestly, is Steve Kloves back as screenwriter who wrote the first one, adapting, the source material, and Gareth Edwards as director, because he has a way of making things feel real and shooting sci-fi and really making it feel like it's part of the world and not just all green screens. Um, so those are my two big things about this film. Watching the trailer, it doesn't do anything for me. The opening, I'm gonna guess that the opening scene is gonna be like the raft scene because we saw a little bit more of it on this, and it looks like those are people that we don't know. And if that is, that kind of feels Jurassic Park 3-ish. So when we come to this film, like, what's there to explore? What is the hook? What are we doing? Okay, they haven't given us the story, and for being the seventh installment of a franchise, I need to know the story that I'm going into because that's really what's going to matter. Because everything else is like we've seen it, we've been there, we've done that, and we're seeing it again. Sweet. And now it's like, can you give it? Are you giving it to me better or worse? And that's really where I feel like this film's gonna live or die by. And what it seems like is this island that they're going to is, in a way, an island of horrors, of monsters, more than just dinosaurs, which is weird because if it was an island that had all like the failed generic experiments, or an island that was all the stuff that they were just kind of messing with, hybrids and stuff like that, that they really hadn't perfected, like where they were trying to make the Indominus Rex, like that was their perfection. The others were just experiments of what could we do. Like, what if we mix this, this, and this? What do we get? Um, and that's kind of what I feel like this D-Rex is going to be, is this abomination of a creature. That would be a little bit more interesting. I think, with someone like Gareth Edwards, I really, that's almost the, okay. The Island of Horrors is almost what J.D. Bayana, how you say it, the director of Fallen Kingdom, would be at, because he's a predominant good horror director. That's the kind of film that I think that he should have directed. Whereas I think Gareth Edwards has the way of bringing the realism and kind of put some of the shock and the awe back into it of just feeling everything's real and tangible, um, and being grounded at the same time. And that's kind of that. I mean, that's what I want to know with this. What's the story now? My pitch, just based on what I'm looking at. Okay, in Jurassic Park 3, originally they were going to be at Site C. This would be another island with some dinosaurs. Not original, right? But if you go back and you look at some of the early toys that were coming out for Jurassic Park 3, it listed Site C. Then they just made it Site B, which didn't really make sense because the island looked different than what we experienced in The Lost World. But whatever, okay? Now, with this film, if this is Site C, it's a smaller island, like I said, where they were experimenting with dinosaurs and stuff like that. I could go into that and buy that. And if it had been something that had been ongoing through, we've had now, InGen that was bought out by Maserati, then, Biosyn took over, or if this is like a Biosyn island, and like I said, it's like a Site C type thing, and the thing is they need to find these dangerous creatures because when they brought back the dinosaurs, let's say they brought back a disease, a pathogen that's actually, it's now kind of plaguing people because our human bodies can't fight this disease. So they have to go and get blood samples of these abomination dinosaurs because they were built intact to fight off any disease and pathogens. They're being built more as like weapons, which we have seen, so that you couldn't even kill them with biological weapons. And that's why they have to go to this island. Okay, I'm in now. Okay, you've proven to me a story point that makes sense, and I'm in. Um, but other than that, like I'm not there. Of course, I will see it because I have children, and my children love dinosaurs, and they are excited. So I will go, um, and have the best time ever with them because I just enjoy my children, and I'll enjoy watching the raft scene because that scene actually looks like classic Jurassic Park, you know. And I think it was part of the scene that was never actually made, the raft slash boat scene. They kind of used a boat scene in Jurassic Park 3. Um, it's been a while. It's been like 15 years since I read the book. And Steve Close, I saw him talk about that. So we will go into it eyes open, but I wish they would have really projected this film with this idea of rebirth. Like, what does that mean? Like, where do we fall in the timeline of things? Are we just continuing on? Is this after, the events of Dominion? Is this somewhere before that? Like, where is this film in the timeline? And I want some references. One of my biggest issues with Jurassic World as a movie was they were back on the original island. Great. But they never talked about what happened to the dinosaurs on Site B. Like, there was never any discussion. And in Fallen Kingdom, same thing. Like, there was never discussion of what happened to Site B because when last we were on Site B, excluding Jurassic Park 3, we leave it with this Site B is going to be a biological preserve. It's going to be a place where um, nature flourishes, and they're just going to let life find its way, you know. And then we don't know what happens from there. If Site B had been like just kind of the experiment of letting it go, but then what happened to all those dinosaurs? Because we know there was at least three T-Rexes on Site B. And then the Lost World's T-Rex, and then is Rexy, the original dinosaur. So that kind of throws me for like, what's fault in your storytelling? You know, where happened to the dinosaurs that were on an island? So we will see. That is my rant after the trailer, but the trailer, honestly, I think it's not a well put together trailer, and it feels very. There's no story really to be told with the trailer. You want to hook people. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't make me excited more. It didn't really feel like it gave me any more. It felt like it was just longer scenes of the same thing we had seen in the first trailer, with nothing new. Like I don't really care about any of these characters. They didn't hook me with any of these characters, and it's coming out in July with an already packed heavy hitter with both Superman and Fantastic Four, and you're gonna put this Jurassic Park Rebirth in there. I feel like it's gonna be the one that's gonna suffer. I could be wrong, um, but I just feel like it. Anyways, that's it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.